Well, in 1950, we're gonna ignore that. That's what you got to do sometimes. Right there. In 1950, the U.S. Navy released rare bacteria into the air over San Francisco, right? As part of a secret operation to study the vulnerability of major American cities to biological weapons. They said, allegedly. This was their reasoning. Now, mind you, but they still didn't tell the public.
No.
If this is your reasoning for it, fine. Okay, cool. Let the people know so they know maybe to stay in the house. Okay, you can't stay in the house because you won't be able to tell if they stay in the house. That's fine. Let them know. Because in paper, they said that, the bacteria that we launched in the air wasn't harmful. It wasn't enough for it to be harmful to humans, right?
Once they got found out, they said that.
Well, I feel like they put that on the paperwork to cover their ass. And the paperwork wasn't made public. It wasn't made public until people started coming out sick, right? The military thought that the bacteria was harmless, so they say. But at least 18 cases of people had to go to the hospital with strange infections linked to said bacteria. And they get to the hospital, and the doctors are like, where have you been? You shouldn't have this here because that's not here. This belongs somewhere else. And it really stumped the doctor. So at least 11 people had these cases, and one patient actually died from the bacteria-related infection because it spread to his heart. Now, no one could understand why this mysterious bacteria was infecting these people until a quarter of a century later when reporters uncovered details about the operation.
Yeah.
A quarter of a century later.
That means on the government's POV might be, well, it worked.
It definitely is that POV.
Right?
It definitely is that POV.
All these stupid little tech guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it worked.
Yeah. We got away with it.
Yeah.
It's too late to charge us now.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
There's no statute of limitations with the government. If you didn't catch us in the act, bitch, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. An investigation by the U.S. Senate actually took place, but it found it wasn't an isolated event or incident.
I can't believe that. What? You mean the judicial system that is run by the government didn't hold the government guilty?
Well, I know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the U.S. Senate did a investigation. They found that this was not an isolated event, meaning that this had happened before. They had done this at least one more time in another place and had not told the civilians there either. This is just what the government has the power to do without our consent, without our knowledge.
The thing is, every single time they do that to the American public, I believe the reason they do it to the American public and not overseas is because that's a declaration of war.
It absolutely is.
You do that to another country, that is a declaration of war. We came for your people, we messed up your people, and now your people got by us. That is war. You do it to us, and we say it's under the guise of safety to keep us safe from war and things like that. And they're like, these patsies, by the time they find out about it, like there's going to be a new season of Matlock on, so let's all relax. You know what I mean?
Miracle.
Like, it's crazy.
It really is
crazy.
It really is crazy. And we're doing our best to like keep it lighthearted and you know, jovial and joke and stuff like, but it really is crazy.
Yeah.
That's just one operation. There was also another operation called Operation Large Area Coverage. The U.S. Army sprayed zinc cadmium sulfide, a fine fluorescent powder, at schools, from cars, from planes. This
you want to say it again for the people in the back?
Where we from?
St. Louis?
St. Louis. They did that where we're from and didn't tell anybody.
Do we want to do a deep dive into what it's like growing up in St. Louis? Well, you have a very different experience.
We do. We have
two different experiences.
Absolutely.
Did you grow up in the city?
I grew up in East St. Louis.
In East St. Louis.
Went to school in St. Louis.
I believe that the amount of people in the government who think so less than of not only St. Louis, but also the underprivileged people in St. Louis, that it is seen as a like festering boil on this country to some people. And the very idea of being like, let's cover school children's arms in cadmium zinc and just see what happens.
See what happens.
It's so up. And
that works.
And like this doesn't feel like a conspiracy episode, if I'm going to be honest. This is like, yo, here's a bunch of receipts against the government where like you have land, sea, and air, and you are using all of it to experiment on the citizenry.
I agree.
I can't.
The conspiracy is going to come, though, because even though we now know this information, we don't know exactly why they were doing it. Were they conducting these for...
Well, there was radiation in it. There were small doses of radiation in there, and so there would be like kids and people who would have like radiation poisoning because of it. And like if you're a small child, like your arms are tiny. It's not going to take as much radiation as a man like you or me.
You're a little guy.
Also, is this why I've had eczema my whole life?
I don't know about that, but this is definitely why my uncle has a horn. He has a horn on the side of his head like a goddamn rhinoceros.
What?
Okay, it's not normal.
No,
it's not normal at all. Okay, 1950s, right? It's this thing called Operation Sea Spray. So the military thought this bacteria was harmless, right? They thought it was harmless. But 11 people came into the hospital with strange infections. Now, doctors are baffled. I mean, gobsmacked. They don't know how these people have gotten this bacteria infection because the bacteria isn't local. So local government officials were told that the Army was conducting this experiment to shield St. Louis with a smokescreen from Russian planes. So in the mid-1990s, it came to light that this was not the case. They actually wanted to test the smokescreen on St. Louis because it resembled Russian cities that the U.S. wanted to attack.
Oh,
and
dude.
I'm sorry, I just gotta laugh at that because that's... to think that worked, we were that ignorant because Google didn't exist. Like...
I'm sorry.
Like it was going to be enough smoke to cover the whole city.
You don't think Russia wants to know the secret of Provel cheese? You don't think toasted ravioli is on Putin's radar?
This is for the people at home. You don't think that Russian planes would be able to spot where Missouri is as a whole? That smoke screen is going to work so well that for St. Louis that they're going to be like, I don't even see Missouri on the map right now.
Where's that black hole in the middle?
What is happening right now? They just took it. Government officials just said, "Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense." They didn't question anything.
We must protect Ozzie Smith at all costs.
Shout out to Ozzie Smith. My parents used to let me stay up to watch St. Louis Cardinals games if Ozzie was playing because he would always hit that backflip. Yep. And it was one of the most iconic things I had ever seen in baseball. So shout out to Ozzie Smith. We were just we were guinea pigs.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
They keep adding lies on top of lies, but the reality is, what are you going to do? Even now that you know this information, what are you going to do? What can we do other than equip ourselves with more knowledge?